For the vineyards in this region, we have what's called vine mealybug, and that has become pest number one. I would recommend Sutera to other growers, and I would say that Sutera has become the backbone of a program in the fight against the vine mealybug.
Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with the California Ag Network, reporting to you from the annual Grape, Nut, and Tree Fruit Expo here at the Big Fresno Fairgrounds. It's great to be gathered here together again. We've had a wonderful turnout, and one of our speakers here, Adam Borchard from the California Fresh Fruit Association, he really pays close attention to what's going on with laws and regulations for our farmers, and you do your best to try to not only keep growers abreast of what's going on, but seeing if we can make a difference in putting down some of this negative stuff. Obviously, we can't get rid of it all, but in fact, we have some new things that are coming down the pipeline, right, as we head into the new year, particularly regarding labor that growers should know about. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's starting January 1st. We're looking at an increase in the state minimum wage to $15.50 an hour. So that's an increase that was triggered by state law that passed a few years ago, and that applies to small and large employers.
And that's going to really help the inflation, won't it?
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, so small employers that have 25 or fewer employees will see a rise from $14 an hour to $15.50. So you're looking at $1.50 increase, 10% increase, over 10% increase in your wages, and then larger employers with 26 or more employees are looking at a additional 50-cent increase.
Yeah, it's the state we live in, right? So what other, how is this going to impact our farmers, and what other things should they be concerned with as we enter the new year?
Well, so, with increase in input costs, growers as businessmen are looking for ways to reduce those costs. Part of that is looking at different technology where they can go automized. So that's why you have folks like Burrow and Gus here showing their products, because there is a way where we can increase technology in the field and in packing facilities.
Right, and what are the things would you say we have to look forward to in the new year?
Through the end of this year is the COVID supplemental paid leave, and then beginning January 1st, we will probably be looking at a 2-year semi-permanent regulation from Cal OSHA. The Cal OSHA Standards Board is still looking at some workplace response regulation for related COVID. Mm-hmm. So currently, since the outbreak of COVID, the Cal OSHA Standards Board has been operating under what's called an ETS, an emergency temporary standard. And currently, the third one expires at the end of this year. But Cal OSHA is looking at doing a 2-year, and hopefully it's just a 2-year, semi-permanent standard that will continue to address workplace COVID-related regulation. So dealing with close contact, testing, exclusion pay, which is a big concern for a lot of growers in terms of additional costs that they'll see on their bottom line. So, yeah, the fun never ends on COVID.
Yeah, so what was supposed to be temporary is looking to become permanent, is what you're saying.
Semi-permanent. Yeah, so and it's not just related to regulations. The supply chain issue continues to be an ongoing issue. We did have some help from the federal government with the passage of the Ocean Shipping Reform Act, OSRA, but we will likely continue to see reverberations due to the supply chain discrepancies related to COVID and other geopolitical issues such as the Russian invasion of Ukraine, probably through 2024.
Now, on the bright side, if there is a bright side, we understand that the California Fresh Fruit Association works really hard to try to help farmers adapt, but also protect their interests at the Capitol and in Washington. I'm sure you guys are working on this, right?
Yeah, so kind of to break it up, generally labor related laws and regulations, environmental related. We definitely saw a lot of activity in Sacramento on labor issues that we unfortunately were not able to beat back successfully. But in terms of new environmental policies and laws, we were successful in that we were able to defeat what I'm calling a Sigma Plus bill, AB 2201, which would have put into statute permanently the governor's executive order related to the drought. That fortunately failed in the legislature, so currently the authority of counties for permitting groundwater wells is preserved. So we're looking at 20-year now, more like 17-year horizon for compliance with SGMA to get to that goal of sustainability. So there is still a definite need for growers to work with county reps and with their groundwater sustainability agencies and be in close contact with them as they're continuing to develop and implement their plans. Secondly, on packaging, single-use packaging, of course, this is California, so we're a very environmentally conscious state. There was a proposed ballot measure that would have been on this Tuesday's in November general election ballot, which would have prohibited single-use packaging and plastics. Fortunately, in working with our partners, other organizations like California Chamber of Commerce and Western Growers and other entities, we were able to reach a compromise, which was SB 54, which provides for a comprehensive packaging regulation with an eventual recycling target of 65% by January 1st of 2032. The benefit of that bill is that there is a carve-out that prohibits CalRecycle from implementing regulations that are in conflict with the federal government's USDA and FDA food and sanitary regulations, guidelines, and rules. So there is a carve-out that is protective of the fresh fruit and produce industry. So I will consider that to be at least a mitigated win.
Right. Well, we really appreciate the efforts of California Fresh Fruit Association and other organizations. I think there's never been a more important time than now to get involved in these organizations that are at the table, Sacramento and Washington, and protecting the interests of agriculture for the future. So, yeah, we've got some hard, troubling times to go through, but we appreciate what you guys do.
I just want to add one thing. I mean, we are not successful if we don't have an active membership, so it is important that we hear from our members, our growers, shippers, and packers, if they get a phone call, an email, or any correspondence from county, state, or federal representatives for implementing a law or regulation. Please make sure to have frequent communication with your association reps. We're here to serve you and the interests of the industry.
Thank you so much, Adam. Read more about these things in our publications. I'm Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.